Hi, YouTube. I hope you're doing good. Happy New Year. I hope it will be pleasant for all of you, for all of us. um, right after I was uploading that video yesterday, I remembered what I was going to talk about reptilians. You know how it's said, like our most primal spot. And I want everybody to really think about this hard because it is about their agendas and it has been in play for thousands of years. Think about the captured slaves in Egypt and back in them times, and then I'll give you a minute. Just keep focus like on the mask and the different things that cultures would use after that. So just a moment here. Please think rationally and logically here. So the most, they say, primal spot of our body is what they call like the R area or the reptilian mind within us. Um, there's cultures like the Anunnaki that would wear like headdresses and like Anu, the Egyptian god, or Anubis with the dog head. And there's different cultures that have worn masks and headdresses. For them, in like Native Americans, could have been like honoring the Great Spirit, but in cultures that had slaves and wanted to instill fear into people, this was used as a fear tactic, like to have like a plain dress up and putting on a Dracula costume. You know, that'd be like if our one of our world leaders, like Klaus Schwab, um, supposed world leader, dresses like a supervillain, or Elon Musk. This isn't uh, anything new. This has been going on for thousands of years. Let me tell you, the most primal part of our human existence is being covered up, watered down, and ignored. And I will tell you about it. Here, I'll take some time and hope I touch a lot of people's hearts with the truth here. Because the Anunnaki were not anything special. They were human just like you and I. There are no reptilian humanoid people, and there never has been. And when these people speak of hybrid, just even Anunnaki means those who came down or those who fell from heaven, um, those who came here from heaven is the correct translation. Um, that's not implying that they were any other species at all. And people like David Icke, I had arguments with him years ago, like, stop lying to the people. You know that this is just a lie created, like, to cover up what the most primal part of the human existence is love. The human spirit isn't reptilian. They want you, they took what was precious and peaceful and loving into something they call hybrid, into something that is vicious and self-centered and horrific. Do you see what I'm saying? The primal instinct of a human being is a loving thing. It, it's not a reptilian. Reptilian, what a disgrace to all human beings to be told that you're a hybrid with a reptile. Does that kind of, I hope I touched a lot of hearts there with some of this truth, because it is all lies. Nobody, no human, they are not hybrid, they are inbred. There is nothing special about mating with your brother, sister, mother, father, cousin to keep it all in the family and exclusive, to keep control over other human beings, to make money and have slaves forever for their offspring and their children. Sometimes introducing new blood because they were getting like mongoloids, mangled people, and people that had genetic uh, malformations like in 14th century England. I mean, what I'm telling you is the truth, all of it, right down to no, there are no reptilians. They love it when you call them that, though, because that goes into their plan, their nefarious plan of making you think that they're something they are not. They are not anything more than inbred humans using other people. That's all they've ever been. They're like actors, tricksters, sorcerers. All right, just a minute. Knock it off. The little ones are chewing their mother up. So, anyway, please believe me, there is no such thing. Do you think like the Native Americans, just because they wore like a hawk's head or the Thunderbird headdress or whatever, do you think that those people, or they wanted to pretend to those people that they were some type of reptilian bird type god? That's not what they were doing. That's not what they were trying to, they weren't trying to instill fear into their people. They were paying homage to the Great Spirit and their birds of flight with for various different reasons, um, none of which had any connection with trying to make their group of people believe that there was anything other on this planet than humans, humanoid. With all this reptilian and alien and they say extraterrestrial. Yeah, they have land that you don't have because they bought it all or stole it all or hide it all. That's the extra land, you know. It does not say off world entities. Boy, little distracting, but anyway, I hope you really get the point. The most primal part of a human being is the human nature of loving, not reptilian. They've twisted it so bad that people would rather believe that they have part of a reptile brain because that's how they describe it. And a lot of people think, wow, that's far out. That's pretty cool. No, is it? Is it cool to be referred to as a cold creature that has to warm itself on the rocks in order to obtain and maintain its body heat? You know, that's not cool. So if you really see what's been going on for thousands of years, the same thing. These headdresses these people wore um, their weapons and different things that they had that the average person doesn't have is a lot of what's going on today in our world. There's things that they're doing and saying to keep their lies going that had been planned. They think long term. They don't think 10 years ahead. They think hundreds of years ahead for the bodies they hope to inhabit in the future to keep control over whoever is around them. And that's the way they operate, thinking logically, practically. They didn't have to name it reptilian brain. What if they had just named that area where they say our pineal gland is the size of a pea, you know, that it's shaped like a pine cone? Okay, that's cool. Why didn't we call it the humanoid spot, the prime humanoid instead of prime evil, reptilian mind? No, no, there's no such thing. So, and we all know that there isn't anybody that's actually reptilian. You do know that, don't you? Do you realize that? This lie that has been going on towards humans this whole time? Look back into the history books and the hieroglyphs that have those headdresses. Can't you see that those are headdresses? They're fake. There isn't anything real about that. Can't you see, like with the dog Anubis? Can't you see it's a headdress? With the Anunnaki, can't you see that they had fake beards? Even the woman. There's a woman, you can tell by the body shapes. Can't you tell they're in costumes? That's what's going on. This started hundreds of years ago, thousands of years ago. So if you go back 2,000 years on something they've put into play now, they've planned it all along to get us to this point where we would actually refer to ourselves as having reptilian minds. We're made in the image of God. They might say the great dragon. Dragon, that word doesn't mean reptile. It's a whole different thing. They've taken everything so out of context and made it something else. So on the surface, everybody's running around thinking, I have a reptilian mind and that's the most primal part of myself. No, the most primal part of yourself is the one that very few gets in touch with. That's your human spot, your prime most prime spot in yourself is your soul. That is humanity, not reptilian. It's the language that has been put in textbooks and history books, even when they're describing what they call the ancient gods, which is nothing more than the beginning of this show, this theater that they're putting on, just like the masks that they wore in ancient times to instill fear in people that didn't know any better. You know, if you have somebody come up behind you right now and they're dressed like a Sasquatch or something, it could probably like spook you. If you turn around and you have something like that, it's probably going to spook you if you didn't know it was a human being with a mask on, you know? And that's what's been happening this whole time to people, not reptiles, not reptilian brains, not reptilian reproduction system, human beings are being called reptiles. I don't take kindly to that. I'm a woman, not a fucking lizard. I don't know about you, but I don't have to warm myself on the rocks. Of course, today would be a pretty nice day to do that. Did snow out last night, but maybe if I was by a beach warming myself on a rock, but not like a lizard or a snake has to do, you know. It really was planned for the over 2,000 years, but the last 600 years, they really put it into play. They put in to what had caused fears in the Egyptian slaves, and they took it to a whole nother level. And that's what's being implemented today by people like David Icke, which like I've stated, he's kind of backed off somewhat. They pretended to kind of silence him off the internet. It was all planned, you know. Of course it was. I talked to him well, actually, the first time was over 30 years ago. Probably, to be specific, um, like 34 years ago. That long ago, yes. And some people never learn their lesson, but other people do. But no, he hasn't, not yet. We'll see. How long is it going to take you to realize that human beings are not part reptilian and that you would take offense to textbooks and scientists and retards telling you that part of your mind isn't human and isn't in the image of God, but of a reptile? Is that indicating that you're the serpent in the garden and that you fell and that you have to pay homage to somebody that tells you that you have a reptilian brain and you're a fallen angel and not a human being? Yeah, because that's what they want you to believe. It's not that there isn't fallen angels, but yeah. Um, or people that they said were giants. Mm, yeah, men are sometimes more giant than women, and that could lead to a lot of, like if somebody came in here and they were way bigger and way smarter and had um, weapons, and they could probably overpower me and overthrow my house and make me do, well, they couldn't make me do anything I didn't want to do. They'd have to kill me. That'd be that. But say if I was a mother, I would be more apt to worry about protecting my children than I would letting them take my life immediately, you know. So there's extenuating circumstances, you know. And to make it abundantly clear that there is no part of a human being that is reptilian. And the most primal spot in you, your soul, is of love and not what would can be considered cold, which is plays right hand in hand with their narcissism. Hybrid, come on. People inbreeding, calling themselves hybrid. if you really think about it. And here's another thing that kind of goes in with the language. When you use a leavening to make a bread and it does raise high, the leavening itself isn't very good for our bodies because the leavening still keeps trying to grow inside you when your body's trying to digest it. So saying that they're high bread isn't probably really a good, I wouldn't want to be high bread if it said that unleavened bread is best, if you think about it. So just the language itself has its clues within there. It really does. Any way you twist it. You're not a reptile. Human beings do not reproduce like reptiles. They never have, and they never will. If you don't believe that God made matter like you or I, things that matter with sound, then you're going to believe that you probably came from something that had both a penis and a vagina and can be described in the flesh. If you believe that you came from the power of a spirit that can not only make you or I, but a tree or an ocean or land and all these beautiful things, which would you rather believe? A God that creates a tree and a human in his likeness, or somebody that says they're hybrid when they're inbred and want to control you and take your money? Who would you believe? Somebody that's telling you the truth about what these agendas are, or people out there wanting you to believe that you're reptilian of some type? There's the difference, you know. Well, I'm going to get this uploaded. I hope that I've made it clear enough where you can just look at these people talking about reptiles and aliens and rest assured that and yes, there's spirits. There's different weird things that go on in our planet that we can't actually prove, and that is spiritual. It's stuff in the ether for real, and visions you might get, but I'm talking about reality and in the flesh and using your common sense and your logic. You need to be logical. If you're a parent, you have to remember back holding your tiny baby and know that that child's primal spot is nothing but love and humanity, not reptilian. You need to get that straight. If you don't, you're really, really lost, and I can't help you. You need to look at these reptilian alien pushers and really know what they're doing out there to human beings. Okay, everybody. Once again, have a happy new year. I hope it is pleasant for everybody. I hope the people that are pushing these type of things can gather the shame that they need to have for it all because of their selfish ways. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA. Have a good night or day wherever you're at.